Hi guys, I am John Carrick, author of Legacy of a Mad Scientist and The Legend of Ashley Fox. Today we have a kind of cool Conan story, Conan 146. We don't have 145, and I had to throw away 141. The cover actually is it's right out of the story. The cover could have been a page in the story or a panel in the story. And it is also a 22-page story. Again, John Buscema is putting in 22 pages, not 17, 5 more. It's very significant. We also have the Golem from World Fantasy Tarot. If you guys can see that, it's not colored very well. The Golem is a Jewish monster sent to destroy their enemies because, I'm not going to get into it. Just that's what it is. Conan 146. A golem is a good opportunity to go in on the Jews, but I do that in every single episode, so let's pass that today. Night of the Three Sisters. Conan is in a bar. This is a little weird. You have a tangent line here where the shadow of his sleeve meets her stomach, and his arm sort of folds under her waist in a way that looks a little strange. But this is a typical bar. Conan is not having a great night. He just spent his last bit of gold on his 10th flagon of ale. So there is a lot about this story. Now, this story is written by a woman, Mary Jo something. Mary Jo Duffy is the writer. John Buscema, 22 pages of art. 2 inkers, Camp and Breeding. And then George Russos on colors, Janice Chang on letters. Jim Shooter, I think, is the editor, and there's who is that? Louise Jones is the assistant editor, not Louise Simonson, who I almost said. I believe she works in comics at Marvel. I don't know, or used to back in the 80s. I think she was one of the writers on X-Men or something like that. Anyhow, Night of the Three Sisters. Everything I object to in this comic is in the writing. And I mean in the scripting, not in the plotting. John Buscema is doing the plot. Mary Jo Duffy is doing the writing. There's a lot that is overdone or geared towards children. I don't know which way to say it. For example, this one is the oldest of the three sisters. Her name is Estrogen. This is Mala, and that's Ceres, not Circe. It's Ceres. So Conan is having a bummer of a night because he's out of beer and he's out of money. That is good writing. This girl is watching him. She's not sure if he's the one that they need or not. I don't know which of the sisters this is. It wasn't quite clear. But Conan, like I said, is not having the best of times. And this guy bumps him and accuses Conan of, watch where you're jostling. This girl had been with Conan a few nights earlier, and she says she does not know him. This guy continues to get into Conan's face and pushes him over. And then someone else says, you better watch out. Conan he says, quit trying to act like a big man. And she says, you better watch out. He is a big man. He says, I'll knock him down. I already knocked him down once. I'll knock him down again. So he goes to punch Conan. Conan grabs him and hurls him across the room. You can't write this wrong because John Buscema drew it. So you can't do this incorrectly. I am a little bit upset about the stairway here. That isn't quite how, I guess if the light were coming straight, I don't know, whatever. Conan continues with his beer. These guys get mad at this dude who knocked over their wine. They tell him he owes him 3 flagons of good wine. And they tell him to go get it. They'll wait here while he goes and gets it. Smashes into these guys. Whole bar fight starts. Which is, so this is where, if it's going to be 22 pages instead of 17, I think John Buscema was doing better at 17 because this would have been compressed into 3 panels instead of 2 pages. 3 pages. This would have been half a page. We don't need these I think these expanded scenes hurt the story. They drag it out, and it's not as interesting. The city guard shows up and says, well, why don't we start with the guy who's not involved? I don't know, that writing does not work. This would have been much easier for this hand to be one of the, like if you had the city guard come in and say, all right, what's going on? Everyone stop. Who started this? And this guy says, this guy started it. That would have been much better writing. Instead, the city guard says, well, why don't we go after this guy who's not involved? That looks suspicious to me. The girls get to him first and teleport him out of the bar. Here's another thing that happens throughout this book. These girls' powers are relatively undefined, and the problem with a wizard is that he is the solution for any problem in the story. Whatever goes wrong, Jim will fix it, right? Jim the wizard will fix it. Jim will fix it. So that's what these wizards are in all these stories. They have all this power, and it's a little bit, I don't have the right word for it. It's not good. It's a plot device. It's a crutch. They lean on it too much. They so the two girls teleport him to the third sister named Estrogen. This is Mala, and that is Ceres. How do you pronounce that? Ceri, I think. Ceres. And they give him a flagon of sober up ale so that he won't be drunk. Of course, Conan doesn't object to being in the company of three beautiful blondes, and why would you? Swedish bikini team over here. This one's super hot, dressed like, who's the girl from the jungle? I don't remember. Sheena of the jungle. So that's sort of the Tarzan girl. Frank Cho did some great artwork of her. Conan pulls her onto his lap, falls over, he's laughing. They pull her sister off of him, and she's like, well, Estrogen is like, no. Mara stays to comfort Conan. She's my favorite. She's the prettiest, long blonde hair. Although Estrogen is real pretty too. Mara, so these two sisters, Ceres and Estrogen, have to go off and do some magic rituals while Mara keeps Conan company. Here they are doing the rituals. She's up on her tiptoes. They're dropping runes and spices and powders and everything. She's like, all right, go see how those two are doing. They've been together an awful long time. She's like, maybe I'll come back later. And so, cut to later. They're all standing before a magic mirror. They go through the magic mirror into some other realm. And they're flying reptiles in this realm. They're looking for a wizard's temple. His name is Quo Quad, which is a little weird, but whatever. Again, this is all the weirdness is in the writing in this book, in the dialogue. There's nothing weird in the images. So many of these Conan comics could be re-dialogued and be improved so much. This one has Dazzler powers. She can send little firecrackers off. And this disrupts all the flying reptiles who vanish. But then Mara gets grabbed by a tentacle. Conan tries to cut it with his sword. He says it does cut it, but it doesn't cut through. So instead, he just has to grab it and wrestle it away from her. And they do. And then it vanishes. And that pterodactyl comes in and takes off with Ciri. So Conan leaps onto the pterodactyl's back, and he doesn't have a sword. He's holding on with one hand. He's holding on to Ciri. Mara teleports a sword into Conan. I know I'm going through this really fast, so I'm just going to sit on this page for a minute because this page is really good. These girls are all exceptionally well endowed. John Buscema is really enjoying drawing these women, and I am really enjoying looking at them. It's interesting the 6-panel layouts that he's doing, you know. Here we get 4 and 4, but regardless. Conan now has a sword to attack the pterodactyl with. He does not kill it. He just says, I hope you feel the sting. It drops them both. They're going to fall to their deaths. But Estrogen, and I know that's not the way her name is pronounced, but that's the way it's spelled. Estragone. She lifts up a bunch of dirt to catch them. The art is amazing. The art is really, really good. She's feeling a little lightheaded and exhausted by all the magical, everything they're going through. And then they see the wizard's tower. So they've reached their destination. Again, I kind of want to just leave the art up for a second. It's so good. This is also a one-issue story. It is not to be continued. So Vincent D'Onofrio in the Netflix and now Apple. Is it Apple TV or Paramount? Whoever's doing it now. Disney. I think Disney, right? He is the perfect Kingpin. Much better than the Michael Clark Duncan race swapping that they did for the Ben Affleck movie. That guy was too nice. He's too nice of a guy, and it's hard to believe that he's just that evil. So here, this is a series trick. She can make Rope levitate. Now, we all know that climbing is Conan's superpower, so he could have just climbed the sheer rock wall. They didn't need this rope climbing trick. Regardless, he climbs and finds the treasure vault, and he's super happy. But now this is we get more weird writing, right? It would have been easy enough to not write this. You could say it took Conan 20 minutes to scale the rope. Instead, when he opens the door and finds the wizard, who looks like Mark Twain, and his girlfriends have all been captured. The wizard and his palace guard have captured the girls. And he says, because you were in there for 20 minutes admiring my treasure, which that's absurd. You know, clearly that was not the case. It took him 20 minutes to climb the rope. So that's how they caught the girls, right? Whatever. Again, I'm objecting to silly things. She does her dazzler bit and blinds them. Conan attacks them with the sword. Takes almost, again, I don't want to turn the page too quick. This is such good artwork. Such good artwork. Mala then releases some pythons, or some poisonous pythons, on the soldiers who flee. Estrogen. Does she disappear these two? Yeah, she teleports them to Vendaya, where they do not speak the language, and hopes they enjoy themselves. These are still baffled by Ciri's dazzler bit, where she makes the lights pop. She's literally doing dazzler, right? Conan bars the door, and see, these scenes are longer than they usually would be. And this is really educational for me, because the more compressed stories work better in comics, and that's what I really need to focus on, is compressing my stories. I tend to take too long, and I need to make them shorter. So Conan, the wizard said that these girls were going to betray you, and here they admit that they were going to betray him. They only came for this ring of power, not all the other treasure. And Conan threatens them, and they immediately make him drunk again. They reverse the spell of the sobering beer that he had several hours ago, because he slept with Mala, and then they did all the traveling and everything. And now he's suddenly drunk 10 flagons of ale at once, they said. 10 beers at once isn't that drunk. I mean, I guess it's pretty drunk. It's not like 10 shots of whiskey, although they say it is, but I don't know. Whatever, I haven't drank in a long time. This is the end. The girls are teleporting out to their own realm. They're not from Earth, where they found Conan. Mala gives him a big kiss, and they send him back outside the city on a horse with a bag of gold. They give him a bag of gold. So all's well that ends well for Conan. But, it's hard to claim that he's the main character of this story. Clearly the three girls are. Conan is along for the ride, along with the rest of us. And there was bullpen stuff back here, so apparently they figured out, bullpen bulletins. This is the letters page. Sorry about bumping the camera on you guys. And that's it, 22 pages. I like this ad. This is pretty cool. It's for a video game that looks a lot like Pac-Man, but whatever. Star Wars Jedi Arena, Parker Brothers. Conan the Barbarian, 146. No complaints. Hey guys, I'm John Carrick, author of Legacy of a Mad Scientist and The Legend of Ashley Fox. I'm so proud of these books. Every chapter in here is almost its own comic, certainly its own scene, its own story. They're written as a series of short stories that expand into an epic, and I'm so proud of it. I'm so proud of the new book I've almost got finished. And this past week has been really rough on me. I haven't been able to write or draw. I've been really occupied trying to do a everything must go sort of sale to raise a bit of money that I need really quick. So sometimes you just got to do what you got to do, and that's all there is to it. So today's conflicted card, deck 3, is the 6 of Spades. And this says, Baron felt a bit of sympathy and compassion for unprepared civilians when the collapse happened. Doesn't say how the collapse happened, what kind of collapse it is, but some kind of collapse that, there was all these storms just a second ago, last night, that killed 26 people. So after the collapse, Baron has noticed that a lot of people are unprepared. He has limited supplies himself. And how would you feel about the people who did not take preparations ahead of time? Is it natural selection, or are you obligated to help them? I think that has to be determined on a case-by-case basis. Not everyone is the same. If you treat everyone like they are equal, like they are the same person, that's not going to work for you in real life. People are not the same. Now, you can be the same, when I mean like have integrity, be a good person, be honest, but you have to evaluate individuals individually. Some of them are going to lie to you, some of them are going to tell you the truth. Some of them are dangerous, some of them are not. Not everyone is equally dangerous. Someone who's like psycho and is a male and 20 to 25 is way more dangerous than an old lady. An old lady might have a gun, but they're not the same person. So for this one, it's a case-by-case basis. And there was something I wanted to mention. I saw a thing today that said 5th generation warfare is going to be epitomized by the lone wolf. And I read a book back when I was a kid called The Fifth Angel by David Wiltse, and it was great. It was about a spec ops guy who got trapped in a foxhole, like a literal fox's den, during a training mission and suffered like some sort of brain damage. You could say oxygen deprivation, but that's not going to make you go crazy. Whatever he suffered in this, little collapsed part that he was in, he eventually escaped. Basically, he was hiding in a foxhole near a culvert, and a truck ran over the area where he's hiding and collapsed the ground around him. And he was in there for a couple days before he was able to get out. So in this book, though, after he gets out of the hospital, he escapes the hospital, I think, some military hospital, and he's in a big city. I don't know which one. I don't remember. But he goes on a behind enemy lines rampage to basically collapse the enemy forces, the enemy city, the metropolitan area. He doesn't acknowledge that everyone's still speaking English, that he's in America. He's just like programmed. And it was a great book. It was really good. And obviously that's the setup that we're in now. There's going to be lone wolves of every persuasion, at least in America and in Western Europe. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I don't think white people can be victimized as much as the minorities can. First off, most of the infiltrators into Europe and America are not living in white neighborhoods. They're living in cities, and they're living in neighborhoods of their own community. As we all well know, criminals criminalize their own community first. They're not going to travel out to the suburbs and attack your school. That's going to happen from some freak inside your school who's objecting to the way the culture is right now. We're in very interesting times. It's going to be fascinating to see what shakes out this summer. Cliff High posted another video yesterday or the day before about the summer of emergence. I haven't listened to all of it yet. Thomas Sheridan is posting stuff about Ireland, and he's really afraid of the Muslims. Europe is really obsessed with the Muslims because they're being flooded with them, whereas America, we can see the Jews are really the problem. So, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how this all shakes out. And also, the Jews are going to find themselves targeted by these minorities more than white people, because the facts are just going to become known. So Muslims already hate them. Once the blacks realized that the Jews ran the slave trade, and the Jews were 78% of the slave owners in America were Jewish. So, and there's not that many of them, and they are all in the upper echelons of society. So when people go to eat the rich, that's who they're going to be going after. They're not going to be coming after me. I'm just a nobody skater trying to make comics in Los Angeles. I don't have anything for anybody. Nobody robs skaters. You can't ride the board, and we don't have any money. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how all of this plays out. It's going to be really fascinating. I'm going to keep making fiction. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. I've got a video. If I can get $500 to pay someone for some coding, I can get to the next step on my video game. It's going to need a lot more after that. I'm probably looking at 10 to 15 grand before I publish this. And that's insane. It shouldn't require that much. And I can't publish it on Steam because those video games make like $500. So it has to be made for as little money as possible because it's not going to make that much. And it's really the sequel. The first game is the functionality, and the sequels are going to be built on that functionality. So I have a lot of work ahead of me, and I'm super excited about doing it. I hope you guys are having a great weekend. I hope you're doing awesome artwork. This was so cool. Shanthan Jetty, I don't know if you guys know who he is. He teaches at RISD, and he's out in Rhode Island. And get this, I didn't know this either. Shane Davis lives in the town where the Kubert School is. So that's fucking awesome. No, it's not Marlton. That's where Ethan lives. But somewhere out there on the East Coast, Shane lives in the exact city as the Kubert School. So that's really awesome. But yeah, Shanthan Jetty did an amazing painting. I don't know how big it is, but he did an amazing painting of Cyberfrog and Heather Swain. I think Heather's in the picture, and Salamandroid. You guys should check it out. I saw it on his Twitter today, on his X profile. I don't know what his name is. Just look up Shanthan Jetty. No one's name is spelled that way. So it's SHANTHENJETI, I believe, or maybe 2 T's. But yeah, that looks really cool. And so yeah, even though things aren't going great for me right now, I still love being me so much. And that's why this past week has been so crazy. I've been going through all my stuff and thinking of what I can get rid of and what I can sell. And when I went through my comic book collection, that's what got me back into comics. I had to sell all my comics a while ago. It wasn't because I needed the money. It was because I did need the money then. I was looking for work. I was between jobs. I wasn't threatened with eviction, but I was between jobs and I needed the money and I had to sell it. And, sometimes stuff, you don't own the stuff ends up owning you. I don't like having, a place full of stuff. I want to get rid of it. The ideal thing would be to be liquid, just money in the bank, nothing, a small computer, a computer to do whatever I need, and, skateboards. And it would be great to have a way to sell the comics. I'm not into keeping them. The omnibuses would be cool, but, I don't know. I just love reading them. And I love drawing. I love producing the art. It would be great to find a way to sell it. I hope you guys, again, I hope you're producing great art. Even if you're not selling it, it makes you feel so good as a person. At least it does for me. And I hope you guys get that from it too, whether it's music, athletics, actual illustration, doesn't matter. You got to do something. All right, see you guys tomorrow.